Hello, everyone. I'm here with Joany
Hello.
Kane. Hello.
Tuesday
I'm
cheers.
Roxanne. and this is everything about Hallmark. But you should know that if you're here. And Joni is my guest, and I am so excited because she is all about the Christmas card, which is my most favorite Christmas movie ever.
Yay. Mine too.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So before we dive into any of your work, talk about how you even got started in writing. Like, were you 5 and you were writing in
Oh,
little journals and diaries? What was going
okay.
on?
Well, first, thank you big time for having me, and thank you for
Sure.
helping me install Chrome, which I just did like 30 seconds ago.
It's good. It's all
I
good.
couldn't get into the room, so bless you and thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome.
welcome to my home. You're here in my little corner where I do my writing and do all my work. And
Really?
I'm going to
I
use
love it.
I'm going to use for I have the Christmas lights stay up 24/7, 12 months.
I love it.
Yeah. And okay, so I'm just going to use my little peanuts ruler to point out a couple things because right there is the Cammy Award that I won for the Christmas card when it came out back in 2006. And
Wonderful.
right next to it is my headless horseman statue because I'm a huge fan of Halloween. I would have to say Christmas is my true love, but Halloween is my soulmate. I really super love that holiday. So I have my Christmas and Halloween next to each other.
Okay.
And right below it, behind my little CD player, is
Yes.
a bobblehead of Ulysses S. Grant, the president. And the reason I have Ulysses S. Grant hanging out in my little office with me is because when he was the president in 1870, right after the Civil War,
Mhm.
he's the one that made Christmas an official holiday.
Oh,
Christmas,
really?
nobody really cared about Christmas. It wasn't really a holiday. It wasn't really that big of a deal.
Mhm.
People actually still worked on Christmas, but he was the one who made it an official holiday. And he did that for two reasons. The first is because it was right after the Civil War and he wanted to do something that would help unite the country.
Yeah.
And the second one is at the time, Charles Dickens had written A Christmas Carol. He wrote it back in like
Mhm.
the 1830s, but he didn't come to this America until after the Civil War. So right after the Civil War, he came to America. He did a one-man show of A Christmas Carol all across the country, and for back then, it went viral. I mean, people just ate it up. They loved the story. They loved how Christmas was not only about redemption, but it was about going from selfish to selfless. And so those two things really prompted President Grant to create Christmas, and here we are.
That's a really cool story. I
Isn't
love
that
it.
cool?
Are
Yeah.
you're a big Charles Dickens fan? Because I am.
Oh yeah, big time, big
I
time.
know.
In fact,
What is your
one of my projects coming up that we'll talk about
Mhm.
now since we
Uh-huh.
just brought it up is back in Victorian England when Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol. He did it
Mhm.
because the most beloved, treasured Christmas tradition in Victorian England at the time was sitting around the fireplace and telling scary stories. Scary stories to England back then was like Hallmark movies to us now. They loved it. So he wrote that story to hang out and tell by the fireside. So one of my projects that hopefully is going to be going into production next year is called A Merry Scary Christmas Tale, and it's combining it's going to be bringing back that tradition, hopefully.
And do you know that's in a song? I hear Amy Grant
Oh,
singing it,
yeah,
but
the most wonderful time of year.
yes,
Scary
yes,
ghost stories. Yeah.
yes. Now, and I always, I didn't know that. So I love that. I'm writing that down because I'm going to share it with my students because I play the song. I play Amy Grant's music all the time in my classroom. They ask for it and her Christmas music. And we were talking about what scary, like why would it be scary?
Yeah.
And now I understand. So I'm going to have to share it with them. They'll like that. They'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
I learned something. I like
Oh, another fun little tidbit when I was doing all this, research on Charles Dickens and scary stories.
Uh-huh.
The song Jingle Bells was
Yes.
written in Massachusetts, and it might be a beloved, treasured, delightful children's song, but
Uh-oh.
it's actually about a booty call. It's
What?
going for a little sleigh ride, going upside, That
Oh my gosh, really?
yeah.
Now, you know what? That's hilarious, and I'm not going to broadcast that to my students because yesterday and today, that's the song that I've been playing, and they did a close read on it, and they're finding grammar words in it. I will skip that story.
But now when you listen to the words of it, it's like, okay, that makes sense because who's gonna like ride by a sleigh that's like trapped in the snow?
Right,
Unless
right.
there's, Miss Fanny Bry is having a good time with the guy who's taking her for the ride.
Miss Fanny is like fancy. Oh my gosh, that's really cool. Now I'm gonna when we're done, I'll be listening to it.
Okay.
I like
Woo, jingle bells.
Thanks so much. I like it.
Okay, and now today,
Yes.
I had a super awesome call with Hollywood, with a producer, a friend of mine in Hollywood. So I'm going to have awesome news to share at the end of the night. And because of that, I'm drinking.
Oh, what
But
do you
I'm
think?
drinking my favorite drink.
Tab.
I'm down to like the last 12 pack. It went out. They Coca-Cola, stopped at the end of last year, and I like bought up as many 12 packs as I could. So I've been like using them sparingly for special occasions. So tonight with you, Roxanne, it's a special occasion,
Oh.
and I'm drinking my tab.
Well, I have my all I want to do is drink hot cocoa and watch Hallmark Christmas movies, but I'm drinking water. So
Oh,
cheers.
well, good for you for staying hydrated.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so talk to us about like I was asking, when you first started to realize you wanted to be a writer, what was it like? What were you
Okay,
doing?
1978, I was in
Okay.
junior high. I was
Mhm.
attending junior high summer camp at Craigville, Cape Cod. And it was only a week long, but they had like a little newspaper for the,
Yeah.
little kiddies to be active and stuff. So I signed up for the newspaper. I'm, hanging out, wondering what am I going to write about? And then I went to the beach and I saw the lifeguards. And, I mean, I was 12. So I'm thinking, oh my God, they're adorable. I'm going to do an article about them. So I interviewed them. I got to spend time with the lifeguards. I wrote up this little, article about being a lifeguard on Craigville Beach. And it was a huge hit, especially for the girls in the camp. And that was the very first time I ever wrote anything for somebody else to read.
Well, you know what? Was that scary? Well, you were younger, but when you share, I know when I share stuff, it's like even though you might be seasoned, or in your case, you were young and unaware, there's like your soul that you're sharing, and it's very like scary. Do
Yeah.
you feel that way or no?
I do. It depends on what I'm writing. Sometimes, like things that are more personal. Like the Christmas card. That's
Yes.
that's personal. I'm 23 years with my hubs because of that one. So
I
that
know.
one's near and dear. But there's other ones. It's like,
You're okay and you don't mind. So yeah, I know. So like when I talk to my students about their writing, you can feel their body language tense up. And there's fun things I do to make them relax. But it's I don't know. I guess because it's so personal, it's coming from your thoughts and they're out there and someone's reading them, it kind of can make someone nervous. But in your case, it looks like sometimes you're and sometimes you're not.
yeah. It depends on how much of me ends up on the page, because not every screenplay. Sometimes you're
Yeah.
hired to write a screenplay, and sometimes you write one and it gets optioned, gets rewritten. I mean, I've
Right.
had ones that end up out there. It's like, whoa, there's not
Like
like a word of me left.
I was going to
But,
say, like,
that's the
yeah.
nature of the business.
And
So,
when that happens though, do you like is it still do they consider it still your story? Do
well,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
I've still gotten credit, but it's
Okay.
very collaborative because once you sell the script, you have to you get notes from like the development exec, and then you get
Yeah.
notes from the producers. The director always gets to do a director's pass. And once I sell it, I have nothing left to it. They just go and do whatever they want. But I've been blessed that the two that really have stayed most true to the heart and soul of the stories were the Christmas card and a Christmas kiss, which was the meet cute in the elevator. So
Oh,
and those are two of my treasures. So you know.
okay. That's cool.
Mm.
Wait a minute. Tell us about the Christmas kiss. Talk more about it. Like
The Christmas Kiss, it wasn't Hallmark, but I think it's on Lifetime now, and that
it
one came
is.
out I think around like 2011, somewhere around there. But and that started with a fun. This is a cute. Well, I'm just all over the place. But
Yeah.
the Christmas card. I met my hubs. But if people see me on Facebook, I call him Logger Honey because he's a
Yes.
logger.
I know.
Logger Honey. And, I met him on the Christmas card, but he's been like my muse ever since, that movie, and I moved in with him. I basically, we met on January 8th. It was love at first sight for me. I cranked out a Christmas card in 2 months because he was like the major inspiration. I brought it up to him where he was living, a little cottage on the lake, and we still live in a little cottage on the lake together on March 23rd. And I basically never left. I moved in July of that year, 1999, and we've been together ever since.
Oh my gosh. So wait a minute. So you wooed him and you knew what you wanted. So you wooed him and schmoozed him with a story.
Exactly.
Yes, I love it. So now how does that lead to the kiss in the elevator?
Okay, so one night we were hanging out. It was at Christmas time, and we're listening to some Christmas music on the radio, and Deck the Halls came on, and he was just like, what would be a funny title is Deck Miss Hall, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like the best title ever. I'm gonna have to use it. So I like figure out what to do for the story for Deck Miss Hall.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, I don't know if you see this, a meet cute in the elevator, and the sort of the villain, and it was Miss Hall in the story, and she gets decked with the Nutcracker, and that kind of takes her out of the picture so the two leads can fall in love.
Right.
And but they changed the title. They changed it to Christmas Kiss. I guess it was a little bit too edgy, maybe, Deck Miss Hall, but that that came about because of the Lager Honey. So it became a movie, and that shattered ratings records for Ion television, and it spawned 2 sequels.
I was just going to say there are sequels to it. I was just going to say this, and I like them all actually because I like the actors that they chose each time. They had good chemistry. So there's 3. There's 3.
Yeah, A Christmas Kiss. I think A Christmas Kiss 2 is the second title, and Merry Christmas.
Oh, okay. I've seen all 3 then. Yes, very good.
Yeah, the second 2 are sort of like written by committee. It was like, oh, we got to do this again. But the Deck Miss Hall, that one just came from like, I'm going to write it just because it's going to be a lot of fun, and if it sells, it sells. If not, I had fun writing it, and I love that title.
So let's dive into the Christmas card since we're here. We're like right there. So okay, I know that your husband was the inspiration, but tell us like any other little tidbits that we haven't shared, because I know you developed a wonderful friendship with one of the actresses. I had her on, and that led to your next project, which we can talk about in a few minutes. But anything you want to share? Give us any little tidbits, fun behind the scenes stuff about Ed Asner, how hard it was to write, anything like that.
Okay. All right. So we'll back up just a little bit. The Christmas card was my third script that I wrote.
Okay.
The very first script, I had I had been able to have like a career in movies working for a local company called Florentine Films that does documentaries for PBS. Ken Burns is one of the producers in Florentine Films, and I was working for them. And this was back before internet, before cell phones. So my job, it was super cool. They sent me all across the country to location scout, do preliminary interviews with people who might be like talking heads in the documentaries, do research at historical societies. It was just such an amazing experience. That was back in the mid 1990s. And right around the time, I was also working at another place called Swift River Inn, which was sort of a local resort here in Western Massachusetts. And one of the co-owners was one of the creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And one of my good pals who I worked with there, named Peter Ryzewski, he was telling me how he used to do accounting for the Hard Rock Cafe. And the Hard Rock Cafe would send him all around the world to like set up, new Hard Rock Cafes, the offices, and different, restaurants all around Europe and Asia and Africa. And he was over to one in Europe, and he taught all the kitchen staff to say 86 management in English. So whenever like the managers and the bosses walked into the kitchen, all the kitchen staff would say 86 management, which means 86 is we're out of, it's restaurant.
Yes.
We're out of. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such an awesome title for a script. And I had never written a script. I never even had a desire to write a script. I wanted to be more like in production and producing and stuff. And I'm like, I gotta write it. So I cranked out a comedy like very slapstick, very Mel Brooks. And back then, because there was no internet, there was like this phone book for Hollywood that had all like production companies' addresses. And so I just like printed out all these like little pitch letters, and I sent them out to a couple dozen places in Hollywood. And I sent one to Bette Midler because I thought she'd have a lot of fun with one of the roles I created in the screenplay. And she asked for the script. She like called up, well, her assistant called him and said, yeah, that, she'd love to read it, send it along. So I, stuck it in the mail, sent it along. A few weeks later, I get the call and they're like, she had fun reading it. She thinks it's potential. It needs a lot of work. That was like my first script. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And she's like, and you might want to lay off the Jimmy Buffett, because I had like written all these Jimmy Buffett songs into the script. So I did. I haven't sold that one. That's probably one of the scripts I've optioned the most, whereas like a producer in Hollywood will say, yeah, I'd like to like sort of rent it for 6 months and see if I can set it up. So that script probably I've optioned at least a dozen times. So I've made a little money off of it from the options, but it hasn't made it to the script yet. And the funny thing is, like, I did that back in 1995, and now it's like, well, you've seen Horrible Bosses. And I'm like, yeah, but I wrote that script before that screenwriter was even born.
Yeah.
So then my second script was a Christmas one. It's called "'Twas the Night." It was about this family of 4 who's going to visit relatives in Vermont, and they get stranded in a small town in Vermont, but it's a magical town. It's like Brigadoon, because I really love that movie with Gene Kelly. So it only appears.
This is so Hallmarkish, let me tell you. But go ahead, keep going.
So they get trapped in this little town that really only like appears on Christmas Eve, and the town is the famous resident is Santa.
Okay.
And so I really love that one. I optioned a few times, but it hasn't sold. It hasn't made it to the screen yet. But then my third one was the Christmas card, and I came up with that idea first inspired by I was watching TV one night with my mom, and we saw a Vince Gill video of "I'll Be Home for Christmas."
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing sort of a serviceman writing home, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like that needs to be a movie somehow. So I had the general idea at that moment to have the basic idea where a woman sends a card, a serviceman gets it, and then he wants to go meet her. And I knew I sort of wanted to have a serviceman in there to honor my dad, because my dad was a World War II medic. He served over in the European campaign. And my mom, when she was alive, she would send out like 400 and 500 Christmas cards. And a lot of them were bought from Hallmark. I mean, everybody we knew got a Christmas card. She was just so amazing doing that. So I titled the movie in honor of her. Her best friend growing up, his name was Faith. So I titled, I named the lead character Faith in her honor, and I made it military in honor of my dad, because after my dad finished serving in World War II, he dedicated his life to working at the VA and helping veterans. So I knew I had those three, but that was like 1996, I think. And so I had percolated on the story for years, thinking, how am I going to make this work? I know I got to write this. I really need to write this story. It's speaking to me. How am I going to do it? But it's not there, but I knew it was going to come. It just wasn't coming. And then in 1998, at Christmas time, I took a job working at Lashway Logging, a mill company here in Western Massachusetts, for my Hollywood habit, because I was still trying to make all these Hollywood projects come true, but I wasn't making any money off of anything. So I had to like work in the office. It's literally started the week of Christmas, and at that time I was like, the Christmas card, how am I going to make this work? I have to make this work. And then on January 8th, I'm working in the office, and in struts one of the loggers. And the minute I saw him, it was like, holy wow, he's it. And at that moment, it's like, I'm setting it in the mill. And then it just, the story just came out. The story just came out after that. So I cranked out the script and then brought it up to him in March, and we're together. We're still together.
I love it.
So I live the Christmas card. I live
Logger honey
every single moment of every day.
I love this. So then when you sold it and you knew that Ed Asner was involved, isn't that amazing? Like,
yeah, I sold it. I wrote it in 1999 is when I finished it. And at that time there wasn't a Hallmark channel. And then they bought it in 2003 from an independent producer who I mailed a letter from, that, the same one I mailed Bette Midler, the letter that from the Hollywood Creative Directory, and they responded, and they, I sent them a script, and they shared it with Hallmark, and Hallmark bought it in 2003. We worked on, some drafts together, like the bench scene, which I super loved. That wasn't in the original. That came about from the
Oh,
development calls with, the wonderful development execs at Hallmark.
it's a good part of this. It's an important part of the story.
It
I love
is.
that. Yeah.
It is. But so for like casting and locations and stuff, I wasn't involved in, but I have since learned, because I had originally set the script in Vermont. Because here, in the area I live, you can't swing a flannel shirt without, a mill. So they're all over the place.
Yes, yes.
But Hallmark had originally, were thinking of like changing the job to like, a farm or a horse farm
No.
or something, shooting it in Southern California. And I was like, oh, when I heard that, I'm like, oh no, you can't do that. But one of the producers championed Nevada City and said, we got to, film it here. My parents, spent time here. It's a beautiful town, and thank God, because that, Nevada City is it's a character. I mean, it
is.
really adds the magic to that story.
You know what? It really does. And when Glorinda was on, she cracks me up. She was telling us the cool stories of like having to have the hair dryers to like dry stuff, and how it was like the temperature or it wasn't really snowing, and then it was, and then things were wet, and then they weren't, like the whole logistics of it, which back then we did not know anything about. But that happens more often now. We get that because they try to pump out all of these movies, and they do them all year round. I think Danica McKellar, she was talking about her movie recently, and she said it was so hot outside, sweating bullets, like she thought she was going to pass out. So she put these ice packs in her shoes, and it just lowered her body temperature. She said it was the best thing ever. Otherwise, she didn't think she was going to make it. So, I mean, I know, but still, it's picturesque. It's gorgeous. It's whenever I hear Nevada City, I think immediately of the Christmas card, and it could be about anything else, could be on the news. So I mean, is your picture hanging up somewhere, like maybe in that cafe in Nevada
City? Yeah, no, no, but I'll get them and I'll share them at a different time. How's that? Okay. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely, lovely town. In fact, I've set several screenplays there that haven't made it to the screen yet, but one day they will.
You never know. Now, a good friendship developed from the Christmas card.
Yeah, Glenda Marie, we met from Facebook.
Okay.
So we became friends on Facebook. Delightful, lovely, beautiful, joyful soul. She's a dear friend. And she's a fantastic artist. So she's not only an actress, she was the waitress, crispy fries scene, but she's an amazing artist. And I lost my mom in 2019. And after she passed, in her final years when she was suffering from dementia, she developed a love for unicorns, which she never really had before. That was just kind of a new thing. So when I go visit her, I always, brought her like a stuffed unicorn or a unicorn that she really loved. And then after she passed, I thought of, how can I honor her? So I wrote up this sort of like little children's kind of a poem called My Unicorn Adventure with Mom. And it's become a book.
I know. I love it. I shared it. I'm glad you had that, because I do have a picture of it too for you. I shared it when I had Glorinda on, and I gave one away. I forget exactly who won it, but I said sign up, and we did like a free raffle kind of thing, and a lot of people were excited over it, and then some even told me that they bought it, which was
yay. Yeah, thank you. And that was a good time, because we did donate after we learned of Ed Asner's passing.
Yes.
Since he passed in August, we've donated all of the proceeds, 100%, to the Ed Asner Family Center, which is a nonprofit he started, with his daughter, I believe, his daughter and his son.
Yes. It's amazing. We talked about it. We were talking about how it's like a place where they have Ed Talks instead of TED Talks.
I know, that's adorable. Oh, and speaking of Ed, I have an Ed. It's not from the Christmas card, but it's from Up. So he hangs out with me when I'm writing. Here's my little mascot.
That's like your little place, your little, like your muse is somewhere in there. It's like your thing. I love it. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna share some things. So if
Okay.
I throw myself out, never fear, I will get back in.
Okay.
But, I'm gonna add this to the stream. So we're on the side in there. That's from your website. So you have this amazing website and
Yes.
each thing that's up there, like, of course, if I do this here, it won't work. But if you click it, then it takes you to like we can order that from your website, correct? We can
Yeah, it has links to not only, well, right now we only have the book available from Amazon because we
right.
self-published, and that was the most user-friendly way for us to do it, but we hope to expand in 2022. But yeah, there's a link to Amazon that takes you to the book, and there's also a link to Glorinda's art
Yes.
website where you can buy her art in cards, shirts, mugs, um,
Calendar.
calendar, yeah,
Yes.
notebooks. It's so amazing. So yeah, so there's those, and I actually did a printout for my website, which I just launched this past week, romancingchristmas.com.
I have that. I'm gonna show that in 1 minute too.
Okay.
I have it for you. Now, before we move on though,
Yes.
I know that several of your fans, they came on and they listened and they're aware of some of the cool tidbits in this story. However, talk about say it anyway. Tell us the connection between the Christmas card and this beautiful little picture book.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it's because, Glorinda, who was the actress in she played the waitress in the
Mhm.
Christmas card. She did all the art, and every single image in that book, Glorinda hand painted. Those are all hand paintings.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, so it's absolute amazing artwork. So that's that's the connection. So it does have the Christmas card connection, and she did put like little Christmas images and a bunch of the different paintings she did. So at the end of the book, we have them listed for people to go back and see if they can find all the little sort of like Christmas, the hidden, where's Waldo?
Yeah, right. My students love that because I use this in my classroom for a couple of reasons, but one was for figurative language. And then they were so excited, they went back in to find the tidbits like
Aw,
right here, or Easter eggs, as some people call
yeah.
them. The unicorn's horn is Christmas. It's the red
Okay.
and green, right?
Exactly. Candy cane. Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go this way. Give me 1 second so I can click and then I'll come back
Okay.
here.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, so this is the next. So that's what you were holding up somewhere in Christmas time. Talk
Yeah.
about this. What is this?
Okay, so one of my scripts that actually started out as a Halloween script called Scaredy Cat became Somewhere in Christmas Time, and it's a time travel romance. It's probably one of my all-time favorite scripts. I wrote it several years ago. Haven't found a home yet, but I so love the script that when I launched the website, I thought, I should have it available for people to download to read it. So,
I
they
did.
okay, yay! I know, because I love it so much, and then also, after you sell things in Hollywood, sometimes they, it loses what it was originally in the script. So it's like, oh, this will be a way for people to read what my original
Mhm.
story is, and so and then I thought, well, I want to do a fundraiser for UNICEF because usually every Halloween I do a fundraiser for UNICEF because I have fond memories of when I was little trick or treating for UNICEF. I
Yeah.
brought the little orange box around with
Yes.
me. And then in my later years, in my adult years, when I would spend Halloween with my mom, I'd answer the door and I, would love to. I was so excited when I saw kids have that little box for trick or treating for UNICEF. But since this October we did the fundraiser for the Ed Asner Family Center, I said, oh well, I'll have the screenplay available for $2, only $2 download with all the proceeds going to UNICEF.
Yes.
So
I
you can go to the
downloaded.
website,
Yes.
Romancing Christmas, download it. It's only $2, and that's going to UNICEF. And now here's the good news. Here's what happened today. I think did I mention earlier in the beginning of the show? That's why partly why I'm drinking the good news. I had a
Yes.
super awesome phone call with a producer today who's also a dear friend. We've worked together in the past, and so I was telling her about it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to download. I'm going to read it." She's like, "Oh, I love this." So we're thinking we're going to co-direct it and co-produce it to have it premiere for next year. So this will be an
Mhm.
opportunity. If you go to romancingchristmas.com, download the script. You can read it now, and this hopefully will be co-directed by me and will premiere.
I love
Christmas
it.
in
Now,
2022.
what I
And
believe,
you all are the first to know. I haven't told nobody knows that I'm
breaking
sharing this
news.
with all of you guys. So yay!
I put the link on a fan page that I'm on. It's like a rom-com kind of a fan page
Oh,
for
cool.
books
Oh, thank you.
and not just books, but movies, books, a whole combo. And I was like, oh, I put it on there. I'll do it again. I can remind
Bless
them.
you and thank you. And I will have that up for available for download through at least Christmas.
Okay, good.
Especially, and I'll also start updating the website as cool information comes along about the project. So anybody who reads it, I'll make sure it's something that we can be interactive. So we'll, keep people like, oh, we're going to be filming it here. Oh, we're, talking with casting for these roles, maybe
Ooh.
put it out for people to say, hey, actually, if you download it and you read it and you say, oh my God, I think so and so would be perfect for this role. Think of them. I will certainly, throw those my way. I'd be happy to find out who, people see in the lead roles.
Okay, I like that idea. This
So,
is
yeah.
awesome. Now
Mhm.
I'm going to share. I'm going to share another one. So this right
Oh,
here, Romancing Christmas.
yeah. Okay, that's actually the real reason for this idea, even though I'm so super excited about Somewhere in Christmas Time. Oh, and backing up just a little bit. Somewhere in Christmas Time, Somewhere in Time is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love, 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 adore that movie. So Somewhere in Christmas Time, I kind of swiped the title a little bit.
Right,
But
that's all right.
it does have a time travel romance.
Oh,
It's present day. You don't go back in time. It's a present day one, but it's I think a very cool and unique way of using time travel.
okay.
So yeah, so okay, but I pretty much launched the website because on January 8th, which was the day I met Logger Honey when he waltzed into the lumber mill.
Yes.
I'm doing just a memoir about how we met and our life together since, and how I came to write the Christmas card, which you guys are all hearing the Reader's Digest version now. And so that will be released. I'm just going to have it from the website, for $5 for just because I'm sure just basically the people who enjoy the movie and the story and stuff. Well, is for them. It's sort of kind of a little love letter for them because it really is an amazing story. I wrote it when there was no Christmas movies on TV. There
Nothing.
wasn't even wasn't a Christmas movie industry. I thought I really want to see Christmas romances. I'm going to write one and try to get it out there and try to get it made. So, I had the sleigh ride, I had the baking in the kitchen fun scene, I had the dance, but before those all became tropes. I was the original troper.
I know. Do you know who the well, they changed their name. So it's Deck the Hallmark. It's three gentlemen that are together, one
Yes.
love. Okay. Do you know
Yeah.
who they are? They have a book where if I had a minute, I'd go grab it, where they review all of the movies, and you're in there. Your
Oh,
movie is in there.
okay.
It's called I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Yeah, I think Alonzo is one of he's
Yes.
a friend from, yeah. I
Yes.
met them all at the Christmas Con. Are you familiar with the Christmas Con that launched in 2019?
I was there. You were there. I was
Yeah,
there.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. I was,
Are you
yeah.
going? Are you going this year?
Not this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you going?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So this is fun fact. One, the Mary Scary Christmas Tale I was telling you about. I'm
Mhm.
working now with Liliana, who's one of the founders of the Christmas Con. The four women are the founders, the four
Yes.
besties,
Yes.
and she's working on Mary Scary with me. And the four of them came up with the Christmas Con idea while they were watching Matchmaker Santa, which was one of my scripts, which was Lacey's very first Hallmark movie.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
How about that? Look
Yeah.
at you. You're quite famous.
And no, my stories are, but Moonlight and Mistletoe was Candace's very first Hallmark movie,
And
and that
is
one
that yours?
I actually got. That was the only movie of all the holiday ones that I got to go to set because that was filmed up in Vermont. So it was close by. So I got to drive up. I got to meet the Hallmark executive Elizabeth Yost, who championed all my stories, and I'm so grateful for her. And it was filmed in May. So when you watch that movie, everything is
Yeah.
so closed in because it's like there were tulips all over the place.
I know, I know. See, this is what I mean. But I love Candace in that movie. I love that whole movie. Actually, it's so funny. This is like when the movie started to roll out, and my dad, he was over. He's like, "What are you watching?" And I think he wanted to watch some kind of sports thing like he always did. And I said, "Oh, no, no. We're watching I'm watching this. If you want to stay. So he does. Do you know he likes it? He still
Oh,
talks about it. He's
that
like, I like that movie. Where's that movie? We look for it, when it's coming on, which is cute.
In the original script, I had, that it stars Tom Arnold, and he's like
Yep,
a crazy comedian. I mean, that
he
he's
is. I
got his
know.
nerve. And in my original script, I actually had his character, the father character, be a lot more kind of crazy, but happy crazy. And he had like this plastic elf in the yard. He'd like go sit out and have like a little eggnog at night and talk to the elf. And, and like the elf was his confidant, and they got rid of that section, but it's like, oh my God, Tom Arnold would have had so much fun with that. But,
I love him. I think that might be what appealed to my dad.
yeah.
I think
There's
he's got
so crazy fun in that.
he has a broken leg or foot in the movie or something, right? Yeah, yeah. And she has to come home.
That's how she has to come home, because she didn't really want to come home, but
right. But then it all works out of course it does. See, I know people make fun of like how it all works out, but it's a guarantee. And I'm there to watch it, to feel good and to get into the spirit of things and enjoy it. I mean, I'm guaranteed if they're going to get together. If I wasn't guaranteed, I'm not interested in watching it then.
Well, I think that's, we all know that the bakery's going to get saved. We all know that they're going to have the happy ever after kiss.
Yes.
What makes the stories are the journeys. I mean,
yes.
By what happens in the scenes and
Mm-hmm.
the interactions between the characters and the setting and the music, all that married together is what makes it. Because, when you look at the Christmas card, not much happens. He goes up, they hang out, he's about to leave, they kiss. Yada yada yada.
But you're correct, because it's character driven. So we fall in love with the characters and their journey, just like you're saying. Exactly. So my friend Chip and I, we always say, because he's a writer too, we always say, there's like 7 plots in the whole the whole writing world, if you think about it. So they're the twists on it, the characters that you bring, the setting switches it up, the funny dialogue that gets in, or the, the funny and then suddenly serious, or vice versa. And that's what makes, the story click for people.
Exactly.
So I love it. Now, I was just cruising along and I found this on your website. What is this Hollows?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just finished writing the first draft of this past October. I went to meet one of my good buddies, Karen LaValle, who's my neighbor, and she's like one of my BFFs. We took a road trip to Sleepy Hollow in September, to see my little,
Yes, your headless horseman.
And so I was, kind of this idea sort of popped in, and I cranked out a script. It's a movie script, but I then sent it to a producer friend of mine who's done a lot with Warner Brothers. And, he called me up and he goes, I freaking love this. He goes, but it needs to be a series. So I'm going to work with him to turn it into a series. But it's a super cool idea. It's this, and it has a really great love story in it. It's the love story is what centers it. But it's this group it's like a coven that they started out as witches and warlocks back in like the Salem days, because I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm influenced by a lot my state.
Yes.
They have this group forms called the Samhain Society, over the years, where they sort of, like research haunted houses. They go into different realms, because I have all these different like realms that you can go through, portals that are sort of different worlds, and also help guide souls onto the next journey. So this is this kind of group, but there's a curse on this group that if any of the members fall in love, that it's just like total devastation and death. And there's this one couple that actually met when they were really little, that are both members, and they're like totally in love, and they finally have a minute and they give into it, and like all hell breaks loose. And so she dies sort of, and it's about his journey to go and to save her and to break this curse. And it's an epic love story, but it also has really great mythology. And the villain is, I don't want to give away too much, but ends up headless. And he's the one that will hopefully go on to become a wicked awesome villain in the world of villains.
Okay. So Joany, oh my goodness. Now I think I would really like that, because I was a big fan of the Angel series.
Yes.
Oh, and he could never be in love, or he would turn back and
exactly. Yes, Buffy. Yep.
Yes, with
Yep,
Buffy, and
inspiration.
I was
Yeah,
so disappointed how that show ended because it
yeah.
was ending. I wanted them because there was a way where it's something where he had this green stuff that went inside of him and it kind of worked out. And when they ended it, I wanted him to have that happen again so that he could be with Buffy. And I was mad by the ending, but that's
I
a
know.
different story.
I know, I know. I
Don't
know,
make me mad.
sorry.
Not with this one. Don't do it.
Okay, no.
All right. And then we have I just picked out all these different cool
Oh,
things.
yeah. Okay,
You
so that's
talk
the one that I talked to you
Yes.
about. I'm doing with Liliana that's inspired by, Charles Dickens.
Well, I love it because it says a heavy-hearted candle maker in search of answers to past Yuletime mysteries spends Christmas Eve at a remote New England B&B where the guests and the host. Now, is this the one where it's only Christmas at certain times?
No.
Okay.
Nope, nope. This is all takes place on Christmas Eve, but it's an anthology movie. So
Okay.
you have sort of like the anchor story, her story, but set inside it are 3 separate little standalone,
Okay.
stories. And they're sort of gothic, scary horror, but they all have sort of, redemption and, like the Christmas Carol,
Right. Okay. That's right.
you got the ghost, you got the suspense, but you also got the, at the end, the redemption and feel good and
Okay. So this is when we were talking about the word scary story, and that's how they got around to talk, which okay, I get you. And that there's like so much to take in and so much to love. I mean, we could have a whole other, you'll have to come back and we'll talk
okay.
about even
Oh,
more. I chose
yeah.
this one because I thought it
Oh,
was
this oh,
gorgeous.
this is another really wonderful script, and I'm hopefully optioning this with the producer who just produced the 2 that I had on Ion, this past week,
Okay.
and it's a really wonderful story, pays tribute to World War II. Hopefully, we'll shoot it over in the UK, so hopefully that one might be on next year too, so I super love that one.
I love the colors that you
Oh,
chose.
yeah, thank you.
That's beautiful. So it's a cooking show host brings the ashes of a World War II nurse to a castle. So is there anything mystical in this or
No, no, this one's grounded in reality, and
okay.
it's set present day, and there's no flashbacks, but she gets together with the British artist who's owns the castle now to find out who this nurse was because the cooking show host she met her mom was a nurse in a nursing home and her mom passed away. So she took over for her mom going to visit some of her mom's favorite patients. And there was this woman who had Alzheimer's and the nursing home had no family. And then, she passed away. So the nursing home gave the cooking show host, our female lead, all of the belongings that they had for this woman. So she discovered that she had been a nurse. She didn't have any family. So the cooking show host, sets out to honor, the woman and bury her ashes where she discovered she fell in love when she served over in World War II. So it really is a beautiful story.
You have lots of stories in that brain of yours. I'm like, my goodness.
Most of the stuff that I've written will never see this, never see a screen. But I love writing them. They're all like I don't have any children. Logger Honey had 2 children from his first marriage, and so we have 4 grandchildren through his kids. But all my kind of scripts and stories are they're my babies.
Right. This is why when people read them and have things to say, like that's why I was trying to say, like, we get a little defensive
Oh,
sometimes with our stories. Not all. I mean, I get it. Now, you just mentioned, and I don't want to forget this or pass by this. I don't want to like I want us to make sure we talk about because, like I was saying earlier, I always have these lists of things that we could talk about, and we always miss something. This I don't want to miss.
okay.
Talk about your movies you just said that were just on Ion. Tell
Okay.
us about them. Are they coming on again? Titles, all that good stuff.
Okay. Um, they probably will because Ion, all these channels repeat, repeat, repeat. The first one was a Christmas Witness, and that premiered on November 28th. And the second one was the following Sunday, just this past Sunday. The fifth was a Christmas Thief, and that one, or the Christmas Thief, and that one was really adorable. I had, the director did just such an amazing job. It was super fun and super cute. One of the actresses from Hawaii Five-O was in it because Ion wanted to sort of cast actors and actresses
Oh,
from the movies that they binge on their channel. And both of those scripts were kind of old. I had written those years ago. The first the Witness was originally titled Holiday Hideout, and the second one was titled Dial S for Santa. And back when I wrote them, which was like probably around 2009, 2010, the only game in town at that point really for Christmas was Hallmark.
Mhm.
And they didn't have their crime show on yet. They didn't have any of the
Right.
Aurora, shows or anything. So because I had sort of a crime element in those two, they weren't good fits for
Oh,
Hallmark. So I just said, okay, well, I had fun writing them. I'll just stick them in a file and see you later. Bye. And this past spring, a producer who was a producer on my movie Christmas Belle called me and said, "Hey, I'm working with Ion. They're looking for Christmas. Do you have anything that might have a crime element?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." I said, "Let me go to the file. I will find them." And I sent it to him, and Ion read them, and Ion was like, "Oh yeah, Joany Kane. Oh my God, you did Christmas Kiss." And yeah, so let's team up, and that's how those came about. So they don't have the original titles, but they
that's
finally made
okay.
it to the screen.
I put them in the chat so we can look them up if we haven't already seen them and catch them. I'm gonna have to go search for them and then watch. I've been like so busy this past week. I knew that they were like you had stuff coming on because we had chatted before, but I promise I'm going to be watching. I
Okay.
promise, and you
Yeah.
have to promise to come back to talk
Oh,
more about
definitely, definitely. As long
all
as I
this
haven't freaked anybody out in the audience.
all this amazing stuff that I mean, we could have like 50 conversations. It's like amazing.
Right,
Do you
well, I
want
hope
to
so.
do you
But,
want to
mostly because, I'm a writer. I never do stuff like this, and, my happy place is, like, deep in my, blanket fort with, my laptop and my pad and pen and logger honey. But, I'm not like, Jack and Jill Wagner who wants to be out there on screen, so it's like, "Oh, here I am," but,
Aw. I wanted to I'm going to share some of the comments
Oh,
and then I think there might be a few questions.
okay, cool.
Before I do that, is there anything that you would like to share with us or is it okay if we do like a little Q&A before we
Oh,
wrap
no,
up?
definitely, definitely. Just a very big thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for inviting me. I've just been fantastic and great. Hopefully I shared info for anybody who's, a writer out there that never give up because sometimes it does take a few years to get stuff going. And, if you go to the site, I certainly would love to have you download somewhere in Christmas time for my UNICEF thingy. But also you can reach out to me. You can fill out the little, connect. And if you have any questions or, ideas, I do have a one sheet of sort of links for people who are interested in being screenwriters. I'm happy to share that. And
Oh.
very, very happy, happy, ho, ho, Mary.
We're not leaving yet.
Yeah.
We're not checking out yet. We're going to look at the comments, but I love that you're sharing that. That's nice that and you know what else was nice? You want to hear our opinions about who we think would be
Oh,
good
yeah,
for those roles. Now,
definitely.
I have a question.
Okay.
When you want our opinion, like, are we allowed to have anybody? Do they have to be like, a Hallmark in the Hallmark?
No, anybody, because
Okay.
hopefully this could be, a streamer.
Okay. All right. All right. I love that. So I wanted to share this is from Kathy Murphy, my friend.
Oh, okay.
She says, "Hi Roxanne and Joni, so excited to be here to talk about my absolute favorite Christmas movie, just like me.
Okay.
Watched it this year a few times. Last night, the most recent. Plan to many more times and love
Okay.
it." Oh goodness, she's sharing some love, and then
Thank
different
you.
people are saying hi. This is Jill. She says, "Okay, Roxanne, my favorite movie is When Calls the Heart Christmas movie, and New Year movie is The Homecoming from the Waltons."
Oh, I love that one.
I know. I asked up at top what was I said my favorite was this one. What was theirs? But you know what? These are good. And the
Yeah.
Hallmark, I mean not the Hallmark, the Waltons. Did you love the
The
Waltons?
original one. Oh my God, yes, I still watch it on the Hallmark Channel.
Do you know what I
Especially
remember?
I love watching the very end when they say goodnight with the lights at night,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
watching the beginning because there's something just so comforting about the
That
theme song.
music. Oh, I
Yeah.
love the music. Well, wait. I always remember as a child saying to my mother, "How's the tree not burn up?" Because I think they had the real
Real
candles on them,
candles,
right?
exactly.
I'm pretty sure it was in there.
Yeah.
Oh, and then someone is telling you that it's a
Aw.
beautiful movie. And then Alice is saying she didn't know there were three to the sequel. Do you
Oh,
remember the sequels?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
meet cute, yeah.
And someone's saying this is a treat that she finally got in to talk.
Oh, I know, yay, thank you. Oh, Mary, I know Mary, yay. I know.
And
Thank you.
then Mary,
Okay, back up to the
go
3
ahead,
in the elevator. Okay, so I
go
wrote
ahead.
one, a meet cute in the elevator. Was not a meet cute, but an elevator one to keep with the theme that hasn't sold yet. I thought that this was the most awesome storyline. That should be a movie. It's about,
Oh,
and it's a kind of based on A Christmas Carol, because it's this like his and her advertising execs who have rival companies, but they used to be in business together, and they used to be in love, and they had a big falling out, and they all go to this penthouse Christmas Eve party to try to wine and dine this princess who's visiting, who wants to
right.
launch a perfume. And
Oh,
so they both give their pitches, and then they head out to, because the princess kind of tells them, says, go get me this, and whoever gets me this first, maybe I'll think of going with you. So they both rush to the elevator. They get in the elevator, they're bickering because they have this huge history, and then the elevator gets stuck, but it moves down a little bit, and it stops at 3 floors. And so the first floor it stops at, the elevator opens, and it's their Christmas past, and then the next one is their Christmas,
wow.
and then the third one is their, what could be their future. So finally they make it to the lobby, they've worked everything out, and now they're teamed up together to make the Christmas special for this princess, who basically, her issue is that she fell in love with a commoner, and her parents didn't want her to be with them, and this
Right.
perfume was sort of her way to honor him, because it was a scent that reminded her of him, of flowers, lilacs.
Okay.
And so they go out, and they're determined to find him for her and bring him back to reunite them and bring them together. I'm like, that's like the best elevator story. That's like the one that's like, nope. I just get nope, nope, nope from
Why? I think that's neat because every time you open it up, it's like it's something different.
exactly. They step into, so there is that magic, and then I thought that'd be really fun for like a couple of older favorite actors that you used to love
Yes.
in the '80s, that you now see
Yes.
in the Christmas movies. Like Melissa
I
Joan Hart and
I
Jason Priestley.
agree.
I thought they would have a lot of fun with that.
I agree. I agree. I'm sorry, I clicked off of one. She was saying that she has the book, she has your unicorn book, and someone was saying that the
Oh,
granddaughter loves it, which is
oh,
nice.
yay.
And says, I'm just able to write, and the Christmas card is my most favorite movie ever. Yes, like me.
Yay.
I never knew it was inspired by a true story. Love it. And I heard Matchmaker Santa too, another favorite. Okay. Yeah. 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 They're all you, which I love. Sorry to be joining late. Oh,
No
Margie's
worries.
here.
You're welcome.
And
Oh, welcome.
she's saying that that sounds lovely. I would definitely watch it if it was a movie.
Woohoo.
I know. We're gonna watch them.
The
We really,
Elevator Christmas Carol.
yeah, I like it. Oh my goodness. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Now, Joni, you stay
Okay.
for a minute. Don't
Okay.
leave. I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. It was a whirlwind day for me. I mean, earlier today I had on guests Jax and Cassie Collier. They make Joni, you would love this.
Oh,
They
cool.
make board games, and they're designed for your family with memories. It's almost like
Oh
a
my god.
story gets told, and your pictures are
Oh.
included and everything. You fill out all the information and they make them. Oh my gosh. I'm like so in
Oh.
love with this idea. So you should check it out. It's called the bundle game. I really think Jenny would like it. We could
Okay.
do one for the Christmas card actually.
Oh
We
yeah.
could because
Oh, good idea.
yes, they have one made for When It Calls the Heart, but that would be so cool if you did one for the
That
movie.
would be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's something
yay.
else
Good
that we
idea.
could do.
Okay, let's make it happen, hon.
All right. Okay. You stay on and good night to everyone else.
Good night.
We're going to end the broadcast.
Happy ho ho ho.
Yes. Enjoy your holidays.